One phone call. One colonel. One racist cop exposed. Terrell Jackson stood 6'3" with shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of his community's expectations. At 42, his close-cropped hair showed flecks of distinguished gray, earned through 15 years of military service and another decade running the youth center in Westbrook Heights. Kids flocked to him like iron filings to a magnet. Parents trusted him with their most precious treasures, their children's futures. Mr. J. Mr. J. The chorus of young voices greeted him each afternoon as he unlocked the center's doors. Terrell's laugh rumbled deep in his chest. Ready for basketball today? On Tuesdays, he taught coding. Thursdays were for college prep. But every day was about respect, dignity, and possibilities beyond the neighborhood's invisible boundaries. "You're changing lives," Mayor Powell had said, presenting him with the Citizen of the Year award last month. Terrell never expected that tomorrow, his own life would change forever. The red and blue lights flashed in Terrell's rearview mirror as he drove home from a late community meeting. His heart sank. Not again. "License and registration," Officer Reynolds demanded, flashlight beam aimed directly at Terrell's eyes, intentionally blinding him. Reynolds was new to the precinct, early 30s, with a perpetual sneer that seemed carved into his face. "May I ask why I'm being pulled over, officer?" Terrell kept his voice steady, hands visible on the steering wheel, exactly as he'd taught the teenagers at his center. "Broken taillight." Reynolds's voice had an edge that made Terrell's skin prickle. "Sir, I checked all my lights yesterday. They were working fine." "You calling me a liar?" Reynolds's hand moved to rest on his holster. "Step out of the vehicle. Now." Terrell complied, moving with deliberate slowness. "Officer, I'm Terrell Jackson. I run the youth center on Maple. I've worked with Captain Martinez on community outreach." Hands against the car. "Spread your legs." Reynolds barked, cutting him off. "This isn't necessary. I haven't done anything wrong." Resisting arrest. Reynolds grabbed Terrell's arm, twisting it behind his back with unnecessary force. "I'm not resisting." Terrell winced as Reynolds slammed him against the car hood. A passing car slowed. Terrell noticed a woman inside, phone raised, recording. "Mind your business." Reynolds shouted at her. The woman sped away, but Terrell felt a spark of hope. Someone had witnessed this. Someone had evidence. "Terrell Jackson, you're under arrest for resisting an officer and suspected drug possession." "Drug possession? That's impossible." Reynolds smiled coldly. "We'll see what I find when I search your car." The precinct's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Officer Reynolds shoved Terrell into a holding cell. The metal door clanged shut with sickening finality. "You planted those drugs," Terrell said, his voice low but firm. "We both know it." Reynolds smirked through the bars. "Nobody's going to believe you over me. Especially not with your background." "What background?" "My military service. My community work. Your prior." Reynolds tapped a folder. 2003 marijuana possession. A misdemeanor from 20 years ago that was later expunged. Terrell's fists clenched. "This is wrong and you know it." For hours, Terrell sat alone on the hard bench. No phone call. No water. No explanation. Other officers passed by, averting their eyes. One young officer paused, concern flashing across his face, but Reynolds appeared and waved him away. "Processing takes time," Reynolds said, his smile never reaching his eyes. "Especially for repeat offenders." When they finally took his fingerprints, the technician whispered, "This isn't right." But she said nothing more. By morning, Terrell's shoulders ached. His mouth felt like sandpaper. His mind raced through options, each one bleaker than the last, until Officer Chin, different from Reynolds in every way, approached the cell. "Mr. Jackson?" You get your phone call now. Terrell's fingers trembled slightly as he dialed the number from memory, one he hadn't called in years but had never forgotten. Colonel Montgomery speaking. The voice on the other end was crisp, authoritative. Colonel, it's Sergeant Jackson. Terrell Jackson, sir. From the 82nd. A pause. Jackson. Been years. What's wrong? You wouldn't call at 6 a.m. unless I'm in trouble, sir. Not of my making. Terrell's voice cracked. Officer named Reynolds arrested me last night. Planted drugs in my car. I'm at Westbrook Station and, say no more. The colonel's tone shifted from friendly to steel. Reynolds, you said? First name? Kevin. Badge number 4487. Got it. Hang tight, Jackson. Remember Kandahar? When those corrupt officials tried to frame our translator? Yes, sir. For the first time since the lights had flashed in his mirror, Terrell felt hope. Same playbook. Different enemy. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Colonel James Montgomery strode into Westbrook Police Station like a thundercloud moving across open plains. At 62, his military bearing remained impeccable, spine straight, silver hair precisely cut, eyes that missed nothing. The desk sergeant straightened involuntarily. I'm here regarding Terrell Jackson, Montgomery announced, placing his military ID on the counter. And I want to speak with your captain immediately. 20 minutes later, Captain Rivera sat across from Montgomery in a cramped office, files spread between them. So you're telling me, Montgomery said, voice dangerously quiet, that one of your finest citizens was arrested on suspicion of drug possession with no warrant, no probable cause except a taillight that, he tapped a mechanic's report, was verified working this morning? Rivera shifted uncomfortably. Officer Reynolds has been with us 6 months. Transferred from Millbridge. Montgomery pushed forward another document. Where he had 3 complaints of racial profiling dismissed. Before that, Eastwood, where he had 2 more. The captain's eyes widened. How did you get these records so quickly? Montgomery's smile was razor-sharp. I have friends in high places, Captain. Including the Attorney General's office, who is very interested in police departments harboring officers with troubling patterns. He slid a flash drive across the desk. But there's more. Much more. Captain Rivera stared at the flash drive like it might explode. What's on this? Text messages. Social media posts under pseudonyms. Body cam footage conveniently lost from Reynolds' previous departments. Montgomery leaned forward. My security firm specializes in background checks. We found what 3 departments missed, or ignored. Rivera plugged in the drive, color draining from his face as he scrolled through the contents. Messages revealed Reynolds bragging to friends about keeping certain neighborhoods in line and teaching lessons to drivers who don't know their place. There's a pattern, Montgomery explained. Reynolds targets black men with clean records or minor past offenses. Makes bogus stops. Plants evidence. He's careful. Small amounts of drugs, just enough for an arrest but not enough to trigger major investigations. Why? Power. Prejudice. And, Montgomery pointed to financial records on screen, promotion. Each department, his arrest numbers spike. He gets commended for proactive policing. Until complaints pile up and he transfers. Rivera rubbed his temples. If this is true. It is. And there's one more thing. Montgomery pulled out his phone. The woman who drove by last night? She sent her video to a journalist friend of mine. They're sitting on it until noon. After that, it goes public. Rivera reached for his phone. I need to call Internal Affairs. The conference room crackled with tension as Officer Reynolds entered, swagger evaporating when he saw Colonel Montgomery sitting beside Captain Rivera. "Officer Reynolds," Rivera began, "serious allegations have been made regarding your conduct during Terrell Jackson's arrest." Reynolds straightened defensively. "Sir, Jackson was belligerent and, save it." Montgomery pressed play on a laptop. The dashcam footage showed Terrell's car, both taillights clearly functioning. Then came the cell phone video from the passing motorist, capturing Reynolds' aggression. Finally, security footage from a nearby business revealed Reynolds approaching Terrell's parked car an hour before the traffic stop, something small glinting in his hand. "That's not," Reynolds sputtered. "Not what?" "Not you planting evidence?" Rivera pushed forward a file. "We found the drugs in your locker. Same batch, same packaging." Reynolds' face contorted. "You can't prove. We have testimonies from 3 officers in your previous departments," Montgomery interrupted. "They're talking now that someone's finally listening. Plus 19 similar cases we've identified." The door opened. 2 internal affairs officers entered, followed by Terrell Jackson, no longer in custody. "Kevin Reynolds," one officer announced, "you're being placed on administrative leave pending criminal charges for evidence tampering, false arrest, and civil rights violations." Reynolds lunged for the door, but Terrell, calm and dignified, simply blocked his path. "No more running," Terrell said quietly. 6 months later, Terrell stood at a podium outside City Hall, Colonel Montgomery at his side. Behind them, Mayor Powell unveiled a sign, "Westbrook Police Accountability Commission." "Today marks a new beginning," Terrell announced to the gathered crowd. "From my wrongful arrest came citywide change. Every officer now wears body cameras that cannot be turned off. Civilian review boards examine all complaints. Transfer records are thoroughly vetted." The audience applauded as Terrell continued, "Reynolds wasn't just one bad apple. He was a symptom of a broken system. Today, that system begins healing." Captain Rivera stepped forward. 10 officers with troubling histories have been removed from duty. 28 cases are being reviewed for similar misconduct. Later, as the crowd dispersed, a young officer approached Terrell. "Officer Chen," Terrell recognized him immediately. "Thank you," Chen said. "You could have burned the whole department down. Instead, you helped rebuild it. Better." Terrell nodded. "Justice isn't about revenge. It's about making sure what happened to me never happens to anyone else again." As they shook hands, Terrell's phone buzzed. The youth center needed him. Some things hadn't changed. But so much had.